So as you guys probably know by now, there is a new M2 coming out, and I think I want it. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. As you guys may or may not know, I basically put an order for a new M car. This was a few months ago, so before the new M2 was even released. You guys can probably guess what it is because there's really not that many new ones out there. But after I saw the new M2, I'm really thinking about canceling my first order and ordering a new M2. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen a whole bunch of videos on the new M2. I think pretty much every YouTuber has made a video about it, so I'm kind of hopping on the bandwagon a little bit, but I figured I'd just make this video, kind of talk to you guys about it because I really would love to order one of these cars. I know not a lot of people are fans of the new M2, but personally, I actually really like it. I think it's cool. I think it sort of has like that new BMW design as well as maintaining some of the older BMW designs. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is we're gonna go through some pictures of the new M2. So just in case if you guys haven't seen it already, and I'm just gonna give you guys my opinion. This isn't really gonna be like a detailed review by any means. So this is just gonna be more laid back, more casual. All right, guys, so like I was saying, this is super casual, kind of ghetto, but I'm basically just gonna throw up a screen share. We're gonna hop onto Google and I'm literally just gonna search, I think it's what, 2023 BMW M2. So let's search this really quick. Yep, and there it is. So this is actually the color that I feel like I've seen it online, this red. I think it's specifically the Toronto red. So if you guys don't know, the Toronto red is offered on the G82 and the G80 M3. It's a beautiful red. If you guys haven't seen it in person, it's a very vibrant red. It does have some orange-ish undertone to it. So the reason why I know this, guys, is because when I was making that order for my new M car, this was one of the colors I was contemplating. Not the color I ended up going with. I wasn't actually a fan of like the orangish undertones of it. So anyways, nothing to do with really the M2, but it is the color that they're kind of showing a lot. So off the bat, guys, I know a lot of people aren't really fans of this car, but I actually think it looks really good. So obviously in terms of design, they kind of went with a very squared off look, whereas some of the other BMWs, they have more of like these like circular angles. So just kind of looking at these front vents, these literally look like a box. Like, I've never seen a BMW where it's just straight up a box on the front bumper, including like the center. I don't know if the intercooler is there. It kind of looks like an intercooler. No, I don't know. It probably has a charge cooler. I don't really know. I'm not a mechanic. But anyways, where an intercooler would typically go, it's also just a straight up box. Now, in terms of the grille, so grills have been a huge topic on BMWs. They've kind of been evolving and some people don't like it. So obviously, guys, with the G80 and the G82, they have these massive beaver teeth grills. And although a lot of people didn't like it when it first came out, including myself, I actually grew to kind of love it. And the reason why, before it even came out, and the reason why is I went to a BMW event. It's like their autocross event where you can kind of race their cars, you know, doing like autocross and stuff like that. It's actually really cool. If you guys haven't done it before, I would highly recommend it. But in that event, they also had like a sneak peek of the G80 M3. This is obviously way before it even came out. And when I saw it in person and I saw those large grills, I actually really liked it. So I'm not gonna say whether my new M car right now has the new grills because I maybe ordered an M5 or an M8, who knows. But I actually like the new grills. This car, this M2, it kind of has, not kind of, it does have those similar grills. So it doesn't have like the slits kind of going would it be vertically? These ones have horizontal slits, slots, whatever you want to call it, similar to the G80s and the G82s. Obviously, these grills on the M2 are way smaller. I don't like how Google keeps on doing this. These grills are way smaller than the G80 and G80 M2. They do look a little funny, but the reason why it's not turning me off, I would say, is because that's what everyone said about the G80 and the G82. And once you kind of give it some time, because it's new and it's different, it really does grow on you. So I feel like this might grow on me. Now, this is something that BMW has been doing with their new M cars. They kind of got rid of the surround on their grills. So not only does the G80 and the G82 have these large grills kind of going like that, they don't have surrounds on them. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, guys, but you can even tell on this M2, it's just like body paint and then the slits are inside, whereas normally they would have a piece of the grill on the outside, whether it's like chrome or gloss black. These just kind of feel more like inserts, if that makes sense. which is fine. I do think it looks good on the G80 and the G82. If you guys noticed, the 4 Series, because that's the only other BMW that has those same large grills. The 3 Series is not. The 4 Series does have those same large grills, and that one, it actually has a surround on it, whereas the M cars, they don't. So obviously this M2 follows the same precedent as the the M3 and the M4. Do I think it looks good? Not really. I'm not too crazy about these grills. It does kind of look like something's missing. I do think more people will like them because they're not as large and they're not as in your face as the M3 and the M4, which is nice because obviously the M2 is a small car. However, it's really not that much lighter than like an M4, by the way. I saw the stat somewhere and it's like it's like almost the same weight, which is pretty crazy. At least from the stat that I saw. That stat could have been wrong. So someone will probably, you know, correct me, but anyways, it's a smaller car. It deserves smaller grills, so I'm glad BMW didn't put those large grills on this car. I think that was the right move. Now, in terms of all that boxy design, just overall, I do like it. I feel like it kind of is reminiscent of the older BMWs, just older cars in general, where they had more of like a boxy look. So it kind of, people are gonna kill me for this, but it kind of is more similar to like a E30 in a way. It doesn't look like an E30. Like if I saw this next to an E30, I would not think that they're the same, but with that boxy design, it is a little more reminiscent of the E30. I absolutely love the headlights. I think the headlights are gorgeous. Otherwise, the body, this picture doesn't really show it too well, but where it kind of widens out like that, obviously I think all M cars do that. I really like it. Again, it has more of like a squared off look, where this is more of like a squared wide body in a way. I think it looks really good overall. Obviously carbon fiber roof, which I'm trying to remember. I don't think the F87 had a carbon fiber roof. I don't think it did. So the fact that this one does is really nice. And just overall looking at some of these other pictures, so you guys can better see sort of like that squared off look in the back here. I actually think this looks really good, man. Like, I don't know why people are hating on it so much. You guys can definitely let me know what you think down in the comments below, but I actually think it's a good looking car. I really do. I'm not a fan of the color. I think with a nicer color, this car could look a lot better. The Toronto red it's okay. Again, I love red is my favorite color, if you guys didn't know. So I love red cars. I love red interior, but this red doesn't really do it for me. So yeah, just overall, guys, I think it looks really good. Let's look at the rear end. All right, so now looking at the rear end, I'm not even gonna bother trying to open up this picture because it's probably gonna go to some weird advertisements, but it's maintaining that boxed off, squared off look. The carbon fiber roof looks amazing. The vents and the grills all look amazing. Quad exhaust, of course. You can really see the squared off, like wide body back here. The taillights are great. It has that like more modern BMW design taillight. Of course, it's a modern BMW. And overall, guys, like, I think it looks really good. Like, I would be genuinely excited for this car. Now, the front looks good. The rear looks good. Something I want to talk to you guys about is the interior. So, if you guys haven't seen, the interior on this car is a huge upgrade. So, when the first M2 came out, it was obviously an N55, which I have nothing against because I love the N55. I had in my 435, so I'm a little biased when it comes to that. But it wasn't a proper M car, which, you know, people don't really like, so I get it. But not only that, like, the interior was super basic. Like, it was not really, like, you're paying so much for a car just to have a super basic interior. Even the seats were like basically the same seats in my F30. Like, you'd even get, you know, like on an M3, like, you get more sporty seats in the M car. The M2 was the basic seats, so not until the M2 competition then they put better seats in it. This time around, as you guys can tell by these pictures, they put the freaking carbon buckets in here. And I mean, come on, like, that's sick, man. So you get this new iDrive 8 setup. I think that's what it's called, iDrive 8. And you also get the carbon bucket seats, which you guys can better see in this picture here. That's freaking awesome. So you can get an M2, which is, by the way, guys, if you didn't know, it's also pretty obvious. The M2 is a cheaper car than the M3 and M4, which is part of the reason why I'm debating canceling my order for this car, because it'll save me a little money and it'll be something new and fresh, which I think will be really exciting. But you can get the really cool, expensive things that you can get in other M cars, like the carbon buckets, like the new iDrive system. And just the interior feels a lot more luxurious. Now, one cool thing about this interior, where all kind of 2 Series have them, I think there was one picture that showed it here, has this like cool design on the door. So I know it's probably a little, I don't want to say tacky, but it's a little gimmicky in a way, but it is cool, and it does make the car feel a little more premium, a little more expensive. And at the end of the day, guys, these cars start at like somewhere in the 60s. They're not cheap cars. Like that's a lot of money. I remember when I was buying my first car, like $5,000 felt like a lot. So to pay that much money for a car, yes, obviously it's a performance car, it's a sports car, and that's what you're really paying for. But to kind of get those basic luxury amenities is nice, and the fact that you're gonna get them in this car now is pretty freaking awesome. So yeah, just overall, guys, I really like this new M2. I know a lot of people don't, and I know a lot of YouTubers made videos about it. I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't watch their videos. Usually I watch other YouTubers, but in this case I didn't want to, because I didn't want my initial genuine opinion to get skewed by other people, because I kind of feel like people just like to hate on things sometimes. I'm not saying these other YouTubers have, but I'm just saying in general, people like to hate on things. I feel like that's what happened with the G80 and the G82. You know, the grills, blah blah blah, this and that, and like it just kind of becomes a trend. And I feel like you almost like subconsciously follow that same trend and what other people are thinking. So I didn't want to fall into that. So that's why I kind of figured I'd just go ahead and make my video first, so you guys can really get my genuine opinions. I know this was a very casual, very laid back, very ghetto video, but I do enjoy these things because, like I kind of mentioned in the 3 Series ones, I just like talking about cars. It's my biggest hobby. It's just something I really like talking about. I do it with my friends, so kind of being able to talk about it with you guys is also fun. So I enjoy making these videos. Hopefully you guys enjoy them as well. Let me know what you guys think though. Like, should I cancel my current M car order and order the new M2? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want me to do more things like this, definitely let me know, because I really enjoy these types of things. But yeah, anyways guys, this video is pretty much done, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.